my philosophy, I have this philosophy called rock taffy water. Rock taffy water. If you want to be highly influential, if you want to be able to get what you want in life, some people live life as rock. And people who live as rock, life is hard. It doesn't move around much at all. Things are fixed. Life is fixed. It's static. Things don't change. People don't change. You know, the people who are successful are lucky. People who are rich were born into it. It's totally not true. Nearly 80% of millionaires are self-made millionaires. Yeah, it's true. We think, oh, it's the evil 1%. The vast majority of the 1% are self-made millionaires. There are some dynasty families that do control billions. It's not the 1%, it's the 0.0001%. And those guys are like so crazy rich. But most millionaires, the vast majority of millionaires are self-made millionaires. So you could see life as rock, and it's hard, and change is difficult, maybe even impossible. Success is difficult and maybe not even possible. Or you can move into the world of taffy, where now change is possible, but it can be hard and it can be slow, but it's now possible to be successful. Maybe those successful people, they weren't just born into it. Maybe they did something to earn it. You know, maybe they had to work hard for it. Maybe they had to work through a lot of their own stuff about it. Change is possible. People can change, but it can be long, it can be hard, it can be difficult. And then finally, there's the world of water. And water, in the world of water, change is inevitable. It's impossible not to change. Everyone is changing. Right? Now, the people in your life, they may not be changing the way that you would like them to. Right? Their path may not be the path that most suits your liking. But they are growing, they are changing. Even if it is a little slower than you might like or they might like. You can have what you want. You can do what you want. Success not only is possible, but success is inevitable. I believe success is inevitable if you're willing to do the work. If you're willing to roll up your sleeves and take action in the world, and you're willing to dig deep and work on yourself, then I believe that success is inevitable. The only mystery is time. How long is it going to take? Who knows? But the time is going to go by no matter what, right? 5 years is going to go by. And the older we get, the faster it seems to go. So 5 years can go by in the blink of an eye, and 5 years is going to pass, right? And you can either be more successful or basically stay where you are. But if you decide what you want, if you decide to be a highly successful coach, if you decide to have a $100,000 a year business or $1 million business, success is inevitable. I heard many years ago, you don't want to just hope to be a millionaire and dream of being a millionaire. If you want to be a millionaire, you decide to be a millionaire. And I decided many years ago, and I thought, man, I'm going to get there. I can't wait. Maybe I'll be a millionaire by the end of the year. Well, it didn't happen in a year. Maybe I'll be a millionaire in this year, right? And then 5 years, maybe now, maybe eventually, and then 5 years, and then 10, more than 10 years went by. I still wasn't a millionaire. And then eventually, bam, it happened. And it wasn't like all at once, right? It's like over time, gradual. And then multimillionaire. Success is inevitable if you're willing to do the work. The only mystery is time. But guess what? Failure is also inevitable. You can't succeed without failing. Maybe you can have a lucky, beginner's luck. You can get a break. But, most people, the first time they try to throw darts at the dartboard and they're aiming for their bullseye, most people do not throw that first dart and hit the bullseye the first time. If they do, it was luck, right? They're not going to just be able to go boom, bullseye, bullseye, bullseye. But with practice over time, you get better, right? First you're throwing it and you're like, can't even hit the dartboard. You're hitting the wall. The wall is like, who here has ever had a dartboard at their house? Yeah, who's practiced, like got started or had other people come get started on the dartboard and have lots of marks all around that dartboard. Yeah? Right? That's how you begin. That's how you start. It's the law of natural progression. You don't start as an oak tree. You start as a seed and a sapling. And eventually a young tree. And eventually an older, mature, big, strong oak tree. Starbucks didn't start with 7 billion locations. They need a Starbucks for every human being on earth. So you don't have to walk more than 3 steps to find the next Starbucks. Okay, well, they don't have 7 billion Starbucks, but there are a lot of them. But they didn't start with all of those. They started with one store, right? They want to start with one location to fine-tune it and get things figured out and work out the kinks. When you're throwing darts at the dartboard and you don't hit the dartboard and you're hitting the wall, you're failing. And some people actually give up, and they're like, I'm just no good at this. And people give up. But some people make it through those first few mistakes, and they start actually hitting the board. And it's like, whoa, now I'm on the board. And sometimes they miss still, but sometimes they get it on, and then eventually they start hitting the board like 90% of the time, 95% of the time. Now they can actually start aiming for specific things on the numbers and actually hitting it some of the times. Then you can start aiming for the little triple and even for the bullseye and bam, and start hitting it regularly. But it doesn't happen overnight. Nobody starts off as a master. You start off as a beginner. You go from beginner to experienced beginner to novice to intermediate to advanced to expert and to master over time. Not in one day, not at one event. If you want to be a millionaire, if you want to make millions of dollars, which I know that may not be the big dream for many people in here, but I will tell you it is pretty awesome. Yeah, I've been poor and I've been rich. I like rich better. But if you want to make millions, there's only one way to do it, and that's to mistake your way to millions. You have to be willing to make mistakes. You've got to be willing to strike out. The best baseball hitters strike out more times than they get a hit. In fact, if you're really, really good, you'll get a hit 1 out of every 3 at-bats. And the best basketball players usually miss almost half the time. Some of the best players even do miss more. Kobe Bryant missed more than half the shots he ever took. And many people consider him to be one of the best players ever. I think even Michael Jordan missed more than 50% of his shots, if you check out his stats. So it's not, being great doesn't mean you don't miss. Being great doesn't mean you don't make mistakes. Being great means you miss the most. Being great means you fail the most. Success is inevitable, but so is failure. And failures are the bricks that pave the way to success. If you want to be successful, you're going to have to be willing to suffer. The most successful people generally are the people who are willing to go through the tough times and get back up, to take criticism and get back out there, to fall flat on their face and get back up and go for it again, right? To miss the dartboard and throw again and throw again and throw again until you get better and better and better. Mastery is a process. And this event is client getting mastery, and it's going to help you master the client getting process. And I want you to be a client getting machine when you leave here. But there's only one way to true mastery, and that is to practice, 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 do, screw up, fail, and win more, and then eventually you get so good you're hitting the bullseye most of the time. Most of the things you do become successful. Not everything you do, even for me, not everything I do is a big success. Some things fall flat. Some things miss. Some things fail, even still. Right? But I have a much better chance of success with all the skills that I've developed over the years, all the practice that I've had, and all the failures that I've had. Even when times are tough. Even on the days when I feel like I don't want to get out of bed in the morning. Even on the days when I took out the garbage and it was like, I'm going to become a garbage man. But I didn't.